Hello, everybody. It is April 10th. Welcome to the Wednesday Wisdom Call. My website is Hello Extraordinary Life. If you go there, you can get your free ebook, 3 Steps to Reprogramming Your Negative Self-Talk, right on the landing page. And I am figuring out Facebook is not really the way to go for creating events anymore in my closed group. There is no tab, so if you really want to be in the know and be notified every week of what the conversation is, get signed up on my email list, and then you'll get notified every week. And not depend on Facebook. That's where I'm at. I'm not depending on Facebook, so yeah. Also, if you go to the website, all of the recordings are there. There are 90 of them now. It's a lot of recordings. So it's been over 2 years that I've been recording these calls. You can find many topics, many of similar topics, because as we, as human beings, we often need to hear things several times before we actually get it, or before we can actually begin to implement. Sometimes the seed just gets planted one time, and then another time it gets watered and blooms. And that seems to be the nature of this life of being human. And today we are talking about emotional wellness. I have evolved one more time, evolved my label, let's call it label, it's a label, to emotional wellness coach, mentor coaching. I am an emotional wellness mentor coach. What does that mean? Somebody asked me, is that like life coaching? Yeah, sure, similar. That's what people can understand. Sure. I'll call it that. It's simply a way to identify, this is how I can help you with your emotional wellness and your emotional well-being. And what does that mean exactly? We are a human being having a human life experience, which includes all kinds of emotional states. My life did not include a lot of emotional well-being because my family didn't really know how to do that. So we have generations of survival, and emotions were not trustworthy, or they didn't have time for that because they were busy surviving. I have generations of, my grandmother came in at the end of, or right at the time of the Depression. So her mom, my great-grandma, was in the Depression. Her mom, my great-grandma, was sold at 15 to a man who she married, had my grandma, and he died. So, that's the history. And then my grandma becomes a hoarder, gets married at 16, has 4 kids, narcissistic. And then my mom did a lot of opposite things of that. The point of all that is none of that included emotions. So what is emotional wellness? How do we live in emotional wellness or balance or whatever label you want to put there? Most of us in our way want to feel good. Our brain only wants to feel good. So we've created a lot of protective mechanisms to put in place to protect us from being hurt, from all those survival skills and dismissal of our emotions. And we aren't equipped. We are equipped, but we've not been taught to have the equipment to deal with our emotions. Therefore, what do we do with them? Most of us, not most, that's probably too big. Many of us that have not learned how to deal with our emotions, we do the same things we've been taught. It's all learned. If you look at babies, they're just all sensation and perception and emotion. And if they feel unsafe, you see them feel unsafe. You don't have to, there's no words, right? Even look at our animals. We know what they need and what they want from us based on how they behave. So that's a tell right there. Learning how to be well or manage our emotions well or live in emotional wellness, kind of a really big conversation. It includes all of it. learning how to shine a light in the places that are hidden in the dark because we don't want to feel them or look at them or acknowledge them, because why? We're afraid of them. I think it's going to be too painful. I don't want to look at that. And then whatever label we put on that, there's too much shame, there's too much blame, there's too much victim, there's too much anger, there's too much, whatever the protection is, all that is to keep us protected from feeling that pain. And the only way to begin to even come into some kind of a balance or ability to respond to life is to really begin to look, become an observer in your world. When we learn how to do that, then it changes the game for us. We call it a game. Sometimes we just need a perspective shift. Simply need to learn new ways to look at an old way. It's not really old. Excuse me. Somebody told me one time, if we're still doing it, it's not old. Because I hear people say, oh, it's this old behavior, it's this old thing. It's not old if I'm still doing it. And if you're still doing it, it's no longer old. It's old in the context that we've been doing it a long time. And it's repeat behavior. That's it. Okay, so where do we begin? Simply look in your world. I did my taxes. That's where this started. The emotional wellness. I did my taxes, and I am a procrastinator. I do it every year. I've been self-employed for a long, long time, and every year I beat myself up over it. Okay, so that's just one instance. How many ways do you beat yourself up for doing what you've been doing for a long time? Rather than, here's the emotional wellness part, figuring out another way to do it. Sometimes we're getting something out of that place of beating ourselves up. We get to remain a victim. We get to not be responsible. We get to be reactive, whatever that is for us, however we carry that. This time, I caught it right away and went, okay, we do this every year. We put it off till the last minute. Then we spend hours because I haven't been disciplined enough to manage it all the way along, or sit down every week and input my numbers. And then at the end of the year when taxes are due, I'm mad and frustrated and I'm a victim to my circumstance. This year, it changed after 30 years. And I decided, okay, we do this every year. Either I accept that I do this every year and do it like this every year, or I do another way. So I decided to do another way. I asked for some help, which again makes me more uncomfortable because now somebody else is going to know what my finances are or how I've been doing them or not doing them or undisciplined I've been around them. You know, this whole gamut of shit in my head. And the emotions running amok because, oh my God, somebody else is going to see it. And, right, so I just got to really be uncomfortable. Now, my invitation to you, overlay it on your own life. And it doesn't have to be about money. Take a look at your life. How many ways have you done something and you beat yourself up for it rather than do something different? How many ways? It could be my relationship. It could be my broken picker. I keep picking the wrong kind of man. I keep doing the same thing over and over and over. Yeah, I did that for a long time too. How many of you do that? How many of us have abandonment issues? How many of us create these situations and then we keep doing the same thing and getting the same results? What do we call that? Insanity. Now, there is a thing called, what's it called? It left my head just now. Anyway, I was seeing that spiral. I sent it out in an email. The spiral. Life is not linear. We are on this like spiral going up. And each time we go up and around this spiral, we're collecting tools. So even when it feels like we're repeating something, we've collected tools, and the timeline gets shorter when we're doing something until we decide that it's no longer serving us, or we get the lesson that is there to get so that we can become healthier, more balanced, who we came here to be. all of it's for a purpose. Everything we experience is for a purpose, to make us the best human being that we can be, who we came here to be, to live our purpose in life. That's what it's all about. What I realize is people in my world, if we are in this tribe together and you're listening to me and you're listening to this recording, that we're here to do this. We're here to remove the layers, and we're here to become emotionally well and manage our emotions and figure out how to live, because I almost said stress-free, but that's not really, how to manage our stress differently. How to deal with loss in a different way rather than shutting down and getting angry, which could be part of it. Emotional wellness comes into play, or we can own it by allowing ourselves to feel what we feel. Doesn't mean I have to act on my feelings. Simply means I allow myself to feel them. That's like step one, allowing myself to feel them. When I allow myself to feel them, when you allow yourself to feel your feelings and you own them and you be responsible for them, instead of punishing the world or taking it out on the world or shutting down, whatever it looks like for you. Sometimes we isolate, we get angry, we lash out, we shut down, we get depressed, right? It looks all kinds of ways. How about we just say, I'm really angry right now, or I'm really struggling right now. It doesn't mean you have to tell everybody all of the details about it. And if you tell somebody that and they say, is there something I can do for you? Then you have a choice. You can either ask them for help. My dog is sneezing. Bless you. Or you can say, no, I don't really want to talk about it, right? You're being responsible for that. But you're also letting people know where you are. When we do that, we give them permission to also live in that space if they choose. I can't do it for them. You can't do it for them, but I can certainly be responsible in the way of, I'm feeling a little irritated right now, and I'm really short on patience. Or maybe I'm feeling really sad right now. I'm really missing my dad. I have moments like that. I don't have to go into all the stuff that's whirling around inside of me. I simply get to own what I'm feeling. Or how about when I'm really happy and excited and joyful? Sometimes I tend to talk about the heavy stuff, but there's the other side of that. When we're happy and we're joyful, and then you come across someone that's sad. Do we join them in the sadness, or do we keep our own light shining in that joyful, happy, loving place and have compassion and listen, or not? There's just a place of, maybe we don't know how to do this. I don't know how to feel what I feel, and I don't know what I'm feeling, because we all want words for it. Sometimes there are no words. Sometimes there just aren't, because feelings, as a human being, we want to put labels on things and we want to give them words. There's a twofold thing there. It's kind of the paradox of it, is it's important, like me speaking and giving you words and sharing what I'm feeling, or sharing on these calls every week, because it helps other people. And then there's the other side, is sometimes I just don't know what I'm feeling. I used to call my friend when my dad died, and she'd be like, how are you? And I'd say, I don't know. And I didn't have anything to say. I couldn't even, I was numb. I can look back and go, I was numb, or I was in shock, but I didn't know. All I needed to do was tell somebody I didn't know. And it didn't have to be fixed. It didn't have to be labeled. It just, I'm feeling something and I don't know what it is. And other times, there's a whole list of things that people have made up that we could look at to identify what we're feeling, especially when we're just beginning to feel or feel deeper than what we know, because we know what we know. And when we begin to do this, I flashed on something. When we begin to do this, or we continue doing this, we are raising the set point for our level of comfort. Because it's very uncomfortable if it's not familiar to us, and we haven't been taught how to feel all of our feelings. If you have a thermostat and it's set at 78, we're going to do whatever we have to do to stay around 78. We're not going to go too far above or too far below. Whatever the emotion is, we're just not going to fluctuate too much, because that's our set point. That's what we know, and that's what we've been trained to do. When we learn how to become emotionally well and balanced, we begin to raise the set point. And it's quite uncomfortable at times. Most of the time I have found it's been uncomfortable when I'm willing to feel all those emotions. I have significantly raised my set point. I grew up in a very angry, shut down, emotionally unavailable home. Just what's so. And learning how to experience all of these other emotions besides shut down, angry, and unavailable was super, super incredibly uncomfortable. Now, we may not like where we are, but it's comfortable because it's familiar. So when we begin raising our set point of what we are experiencing, it can be quite uncomfortable. Someone said to me one time, as deeply as you are angry, which was my default emotion, or at sometimes primary emotion, that I could relate to. So as deeply as I was angry, so if yours is, let's say, depression or shut down or apathy, isolation, as deeply as you do any of those things, you experience any of those familiar emotions, are also as deeply as you can love and feel joy and happiness. How does that land? Just sit with that. It terrified me. When someone said that, I thought, oh my God, I knew I was angry. I knew I was a rager on my insides. I didn't often rage outside unless I was drinking. Long time ago. So that was my depth. I knew how to be that way. I was comfortable there. Even though I didn't always like it, I was comfortable there. It was very familiar. When someone said, as deeply as I am angry is as deeply as I can love, oh boy, that just shakes the sugar tree. That shakes up all those things of, I don't know, I'm not enough for that. I don't deserve that. I'm not worthy of that. And then that's true, but that's what we tell ourselves. Right? There's that unwell part. Well, the well, it's really, wells are very, very deep, just like our emotions. If you need help or you need some guidance, that's what I'm here for. Listening to these calls, there's lots and lots of recordings, coaching. Sometimes we just don't know how to navigate on the inside. What's going on, and we need some help and some guidance, and that's what I'm here for as a mentor coach, is to help and guide that terrain on the inside that some of us don't want to go by ourselves. We don't even want to look around by ourselves, and we really need help to begin to implement and to have a safe place to just start feeling, or to feel deeper than we know is possible at this moment in time. And that's true for anybody. We only know what we know, but many of us have blind spots, including me. I didn't know when I asked for help about my finances and doing my books, when it was offered to do it with me and someone else would be looking at my finances, I didn't know that I would feel this, oh my God, the deeper layers of my own self-worth and my own not enough, and somebody's going to judge me because I have quite a judgment about my own way of doing it, right? So I'm afraid someone's going to judge me too. But I didn't know those were there until I asked the question. And the response was, let me help you. Holy crap. And I'm talking about money right there, but that's true of any emotion. There's no exemptions in our life. how I am with my money is how I am everywhere. How I am with my marriage is how I am everywhere. How I am with myself is going to show up in my world. So consider that when you're looking at what's your relationship to your money. That's a really big one. It's a hot topic for many of us. What's your relationship to money? Do you always have to have more because there's never enough? And when you don't have enough, then you're not enough. That was my equation for a long time. My bank account equaled my self-esteem. So that's what my invitation today is, for you to consider those things in your relationship to them, because it reveals a whole lot more than what we think. And with that, I'm going to redirect you back to my website. You can find all of the recordings there. I'm going to post this recording by the end of the week. Go to the landing page, sign up for the free ebook, which is being redesigned right now. It's going to be really, really pretty. I'm not doing it, thank God. And get your free gift there, and then you'll be on the email list to get all the emails for this call and for any other thing that's going on. If I'm doing my course or just coaching, or it's a lot of great information, more than the call or different than the call a little bit. Sometimes things are just said the same topic in a different way, which is always helpful for all of us. Have a great day.